guys, this is Roshni from LearnoHub, the free learning platform where you can learn math, science, social science, anything for free at learnohub.com. So welcome to the fifth video and the last video of the video series on light, reflection and refraction class 10th science. So in this particular video, we are going to talk about image formation by lenses, lens formula, very important, magnification of a lens, power of a lens, and last but not the least, numericals. So we are going to solve numericals related to lenses. So this is a must-watch video for you and you must watch the complete video, and after that try out a few numericals on your own. So are we all ready to get started? Let's get started. So let us look at the first scenario when we say that the object is placed at infinity and we want to see where is the image formed and what is the nature of the image. So now, similar to how we studied the image formation by spherical mirrors, on same lines we will try to plot the ray diagrams for lens as well. So in this case, when the object is at infinity, that means parallel rays of light will come. So let us suppose, as per rule number 3, there is one ray which falls in such a way that it passes through the optical center. So what happens after refraction? It goes undeviated. There is no deviation, right? And let us suppose there is another ray of light which passed through the focus. Let us suppose this is F1. First principal focus, and this is second principal focus. So let us say there is another ray which passes through the principal focus. So after refraction, it goes parallel to the principal axis. So these two meet at this point. So as a result, an image is formed here. So in this case, what is the nature of the image? The nature of the image is real, inverted, diminished, and what is the location? Location is at the second principal focus. That means when the object is located at infinity, an image is formed by the convex lens at its second principal focus. Now let us look at the second scenario where we say that the object is beyond 2f1. Let us suppose if this is first principal focus and this is second principal focus, and somewhere around here we have 2f1, which is nothing but the center of curvature, right? So object is placed beyond this point, so maybe somewhere around here. So what happens in this case? In this case also the same thing. Let us suppose there is a ray of light which goes parallel to the principal axis. So what happens after refraction? It passes through the second principal focus, right? And let us say there is another ray of light which passes through the first principal focus, like this, and after refraction it goes parallel to the principal axis. Let me extend the principal axis. Let me extend this line as well. So it will go parallel to the principal axis, somewhat like this. So you form an image somewhere around here. Let us say if this was F2, this is 2F2. So if it is beyond 2F1, you get an image which is formed between F2 and 2F2. So in this case, what kind of image is formed? Real, inverted, between the second principal focus and the second center of curvature, and obviously the image is inverted. Let us look at the third scenario where we say that the object is located at 2f1. Let us suppose this is f1, this is 2f1. Similarly, this is f2 and this is 2f2. So if the object is located at this point, then what happens? A ray of light parallel to the principal axis after refraction passes through the second principal focus. There is another ray of light which passes through the optical center, and after refraction it passes undeviated. So they both meet at this point. So therefore the image is formed at 2f2. Image is of the same size, image is real, and image is invert. Object between 2f1 and focus. So if this is f1 and this is 2f1, so object is located somewhere here. Similarly on this side we have 2f2 and 2f2. So what will happen here also? Same thing, parallel to principal axis, after refraction passes through principal focus. Again another ray which passes through this optical center, it goes undeviated. So these two meet somewhere beyond 2f2, and in this case the image is enlarged. So here we get real, inverted, enlarged, and the image is formed beyond 2f2, right? In the next scenario, I assume that the object is located at focus. So that means this is my object. So here parallel, so it passes through principal focus. Another ray of light which passes through this optical center, it goes straight. So when you look at it, both the rays are parallel. So they are assumed to meet at some infinite point. So we say that the image is formed at infinity. Image is enlarged. What else? Image would be real and inverted. It has to be inverted because these rays, maybe wherever they meet, but they will always meet somewhere below the principal axis, and as a result it will form an inverted image. Now let us bring the object even more near. So we'll place the object between optical center and focus. So now your object is somewhere here. So here, since you have only 3 rules, so again you can apply any of those 2 rules, and wherever the refracted rays meet, your image is formed at that point. So in this case, what do we see? The rays appear to diverge. They do not appear to meet anywhere. So what do? We extend these rays in the backward direction in this way, and then both of them appear to meet at some point. So we say that an erect virtual image is formed. So where is the image formed? It is formed on the same side as the object, and obviously the image is enlarged, right? So let us now see a review of the image formation in this table. When the object was at infinity, the image was formed at f2. It was real, inverted, and diminished. When the object was beyond 2f1, image was formed between 2f2 and f2, real, inverted, and diminished. When the object was at 2f1, image was formed at 2f2, real, inverted, same size. When it was between 2f1 and f1, image was formed beyond 2f2, real, inverted, and enlarged. At focus, image formed at infinity, real, inverted, and enlarged. Between focus and optical center, image was formed on the same side as object, virtual, erect, and enlarged. So as we see that as we bring the object closer to the lens, the image moves away from the lens, and also the size of the image, as the object is brought nearer, the size of the image gradually increases. Let us now study the image formation by concave lens. Concave lens is a diverging lens. So let us see how does it differ from convex lens. So let us first consider that the object is located at infinity. So if the object is located at infinity, then parallel rays will be coming from the infinite object. So somewhat like this, these will be my incident rays. So what happens to these incident rays? They get diverged like this. Now let us suppose that this point is f1, this point is 2f1. Similarly, this point is f2 and this is 2f2. So what happens when we try to extrapolate these refracted rays in the backward direction? We see that they meet at this point. So we say that an image is formed at f1. So in this case, image is formed at f1. What kind of image will be formed? It would be nothing but virtual, erect and diminished, because it is a virtual image and any virtual image is always erect, and this has to be smaller in size. So this is the nature of image formed when the object is at infinity. Now let us suppose that the object is placed anywhere between infinity and the optical center. So let us suppose the object is placed anywhere at this point. And let us suppose this is f1 and this is f2. Now what happens to this object? There is one ray which goes parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it diverges or it passes through the principal focus, somewhat like this. There is another ray which passes through the optical center and goes undeviated. So that means this is the point where the refracted rays meet. So this is my image, right? So what kind of image is formed here? In this case also, image is virtual, erect and diminished. And here the image is formed between f1 and optical center. So that means for any position between infinity and optical center, the nature of the image formed in case of a concave lens is the same. And that is why we have not considered all different positions separately, because everywhere you will get the same characteristics for the image, that is virtual, erect and diminished. So let us look at it. So here if you see, the nature of the image is virtual, erect and diminished for both the scenarios. When the object is at infinity, image is formed at f2. When the object is between infinity and 0, the image is formed between f1 and optical center. Now let us quickly look at the sign convention for lens. This will also be little similar to the sign convention for mirrors. First of all, the focal length of a concave lens is negative, whereas the focal length of a convex lens is positive. So please remember these points. Whenever we are talking about focal length, we are generally taking into consideration the second principal focus. So focal length of a concave lens, when you remember your concave mirror, the focal length for a concave mirror was also negative. So the focal length for concave lens is negative and for convex lens it is positive. Object distance on the left of the optical center. So in this case, optical center serves as the pole. So the optical center acts as the origin. So anything on the left side of optical center is negative. Anything on the right side is positive. Similarly, when we talk about image distance, that also on the left side is negative and on the right side is positive. The object or image height, that is, which is denoted by h or h dash, above the principal axis is positive and below the principal axis is negative, right? So these are some of the common sign conventions which were true even for spherical mirrors. Now with this in mind, let us try to look at the lens formula. The way we had the mirror equation which was used to relate the object distance with image distance and focal length. Similarly, we have something called lens formula which relates the image distance with object distance and focal length of spherical lenses. So what is the lens formula? It is very similar to the mirror equation except with a negative sign. It is 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f, where v is the image distance, u is the object distance and f is the focal length. So this lens formula is true for both concave lenses and convex lenses, but you need to take into consideration the sign convention when you try to solve problems using this lens formula. So let us now talk about magnification of a lens. I think now it is easier for you to understand what is magnification, what is lens formula, how is image formation taking place in lenses, because we have studied all these things in detail for mirrors, right? So what is magnification of a lens? It is also the same thing. It will tell us how big or how small the image is compared to the object. So it is the ratio of the size of the image to the size of the object. It is generally denoted by a small m. Now whenever we talk about erect images, magnification is positive. That is very obvious because magnification is h dash by h. So if the image formed is erect, that means it is above the principal axis. So it will be positive. For inverted images, m is negative. Let us now talk about power of a lens. Power of a lens is the measure of convergence or divergence of a lens. Whenever we talk about power of a lens, it means that the capability of the lens to converge a beam of light or to diverge a beam of light. That means, let us suppose if I am talking about a converging lens, how much it can converge, to what extent can it converge a ray of light, that is measured by the power of a lens. You would have heard from people that those who have got some defects in their vision, they usually use lenses, right? Instead of spectacles, many of them use lenses these days. So that lens has some power. Somebody wearing a spectacles must be knowing that you sometimes have -1, +1, like that you have different powers. So what is the power? It tells us the ability of the lens to what extent it can converge or diverge an incident beam of light. So this power of a lens depends on the focal length of the lens. So we will prove that how it depends on the focal length of a lens. Let us suppose we have this lens where you can see the second principal focus lies here. So that means OF is the focal length for this lens. Now let us suppose I take a similar lens with a greater focal length. Let us suppose the second principal focus lies somewhere here. So in this case, OF is greater than the OF in this case. So what will happen in this case? When a ray of light is incident parallel to the principal axis, it has to pass through this focus. So what happened in this case? In this case, the bending reduced. The value of this delta dash became smaller than the value of this delta. Similarly, if this F would have been even more far away, in that case this ray would have bent somewhat like this, right? So that means your delta would have further decreased to some delta dash dash. That means as the focal length of the lens increases, the angle by which it converges, that decreases. So that means as focal length increases, your delta is decreasing. As focal length increases, delta decreases. So as the focal length increases, the degree of convergence decreases. So we can say that, and this degree of convergence denotes power. So we can say that power is inversely proportional to the focal length of a lens. So therefore we define power mathematically as reciprocal of focal length of a lens. So we define it as the tangent of the angle by which it converges or diverges a beam of light falling at unit distance from the optical center. So this is how it is officially defined. That is the tangent of this angle, that is tan delta, by which it converges a beam of light falling at unit distance from the optical center. That means when this distance is 1 unit. So this is how it is officially defined. Power, when I talk of a convex lens, power of a convex lens is positive. Why? Because power is equal to 1 by focal length, and focal length for a convex lens is positive. Similarly, power of a concave lens is negative. That's because focal length for a concave lens is negative. SI unit of power is diopter, which is denoted by a capital D. 1 diopter is equal to 1 meter inverse, because it is SI unit of power, that is 1 diopter is equal to 1 divided by, what is the SI unit of focal length? It is meter. So 1 diopter becomes equal to 1 meter inverse. So with this we conclude the second half of this lesson. So in this entire lesson we studied about the phenomenon of reflection and refraction of light, and we also studied about image formation by spherical mirrors and lenses. So let us now try to solve few problems based on whatever we studied about refraction of light. A concave lens of focal length 15 centimeters forms an image 10 centimeters from the lens. How far is the object placed from the lens? So in this case, what are the values that is given? Focal length is given as 15 centimeters. For a concave lens, focal length is negative. Image distance is given as 10 centimeters. right? So first let us try to plot the ray diagram. This is a concave lens. This is the principal axis. Now let us suppose the focal length f is here. This is my object O. So what happens? One ray of light passes through this optical center, goes undeviated. Another ray of light parallel to the principal axis after refraction get diverged. So when it is joined back, both meet at this point, and this is the image formed. Right? So in this case, my image is formed at this point. So V is also negative because it is on the left hand side compared to the optical center. So we have to calculate the value of U. So we will apply lens formula. Now as per lens formula, 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. So 1 by U is equal to 1 by V minus 1 by F, that is equal to 1 minus 1 by 10 minus 1 by minus 15, that is equal to minus 1 by 10 plus 1 by 15. This comes out to be minus 30. Therefore, the object should be placed at 30 centimeters on the left hand side from the optical center. Let us look at the next problem. A spherical mirror and a thin spherical lens have each a focal length of minus 15 centimeter. The mirror and the lens are likely to be. So when I talk about a spherical mirror, so here the focal length is given as negative. So if focal length is negative, what kind of lens it has to be? It should be a concave lens, because focal length is negative for a concave lens. If you remember the concave lens, parallel beam of light when falls on it, they all diverge, and when you try to extrapolate it in the backward direction, they meet at the principal focus. So therefore your focal length is negative in case of a concave lens. What about mirror? In which mirror the focal length is negative? It is negative in case of concave mirror. If you remember your concave mirror, it is somewhat like this. So that means your center of curvature is here and your principal focus is here. Right, so in this case also it is negative. So the correct answer would be both are concave. It says find the focal length of a lens of power minus 2 diopters. What type of lens is this? So what is the relationship between power and focal length? We know that focal length is equal to 1 by F. This implies that focal length will be equal to 1 by P, that is equal to 1 by minus 2, which is equal to minus 0.5 meters. So this would be the focal length of the lens. Now since F is negative, that means what kind of lens is it? It is a concave lens. Let us look at the next problem. A doctor has prescribed a corrective lens of power plus 1.5 diopter. So that means power of the lens is given as plus 1.5 diopters. Find the focal length of the lens. Is the prescribed lens diverging or converging? So how do I calculate the focal length? Focal length would be nothing but 1 by P, that is equal to 1 by 1.5. So from this we get 0.66 meters. This is the focal length of the lens. Now what do we see? Focal length is positive in this case. So what kind of lens is this? It is convex lens. And convex lens is a converging lens because it tends to converge the incident rays falling on it. Let us now look at the 10th problem. It says that a 2 centimeter tall object is placed perpendicular to the principal axis of a convex lens of focal length 10 centimeters. So in this case, focal length is 10 centimeters. For a convex lens, focal length will be positive. Now what is the height of the object? It is 2 centimeters. The distance of the object from the lens is 15 centimeters. So U is minus 15 centimeters. So we have to calculate the value of V and also magnification. Right? So first we will apply the lens formula. So using the lens formula, we can calculate the value of V. 1 by V minus 1 by U is equal to 1 by F. So we can say 1 by V is equal to 1 by U plus 1 by F, that is equal to 1 by minus 15 plus 1 by 10. From this we get 1 by 30, or we can say V is equal to 30 centimeters. So this denotes the position of the object. So now we have to calculate magnification, and we know that magnification is equal to, what would be the magnification in this case? Magnification is equal to V by U, or equal to H dash by H, that is size of the image by size of the object. So let us first try to calculate the magnification using the image distance and the object distance. So now using the magnification as V by U, we get that V is 30 divided by U is minus 15. So it comes out to be minus 2. So using this magnification, so we found out the magnification, now using this we can find out the height of the image. So height of the image H dash becomes equal to magnification into height of the object, that is equal to minus 2 into 2 centimeters, that is minus 4 centimeters. So the size of the image is 4 centimeters and the nature of the image is real and inverted. So what kind of image is formed? Real, inverted, enlarged, and the location of the image is 30 centimeters from the optical center. So with this problem, we will conclude this lesson. I hope you got some idea about the phenomenon of reflection and refraction of light, and you also got an idea about how to approach problems based on spherical mirrors and lenses.
So children, how did you like this video? Did you find it useful? If yes, do not forget to share it with your friends so that they can also understand this lesson like never before. And I will meet you all very soon with a new topic, with a new video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.